I don't know about anyone else, but I like that intro. And yes, it's an even bigger mess behind me, guys. I went out and got some POTA done today. So, yeah, you're going to have a Parks on the Air video coming in the next couple days. And there's the other Andy. Hello, Andy A0AM. Good evening, Chris and David. And our guest actually is in the chat, just said sweet. Wildland Outdoors is with us today, and we are talking EmCom today. Now, I'm going to warn you guys, we've been trying to troubleshoot some issues already. We're going to work through it. But it's going to be awesome. As always, check out K0BJJ.com. As things develop and things happen, as soon as I know when I'm going to put that POTA video out, I'll put that on the calendar. But we have 2 events coming up this next weekend that you can catch us at, and you will catch that over at K0BJJ.com. Without any further ado, how you doing, Craig?
Oh, not too bad, Ben. How we doing today?
Not bad. So, we're talking EmCom, and you brought this topic up with me and said you wanted to discuss it, so I'll let you take it away.
Well, the reason I wanted to discuss EmCom, Ben, is it's honestly the reason I got into ham radio in the first place. My brother had been into it and been pushing me to get into it. And then finally, when we had the DeRay show here in Iowa, I was without power for 10 days. And I was pulling everything I had for battery packs, the jump pack for my car, whatever I could do so I could keep phones charged, computers running, whatever. And so at that point, I've realized, okay, if I didn't have a phone, I have no way of letting anyone know that I'm okay, I'm not hurt, my wife's fine, my kids are fine. So I started studying and got my ham license.
Oh, that's a good reason. And I know out Cedar Rapids and East got hit a little bit harder than we did with that. And good evening, UTV and ham. KD9 WNV, I see you there in chat. And that was actually right after I got my technician. But I got my tech for storm spotting. So I rode the DeRay show out. Tell you what, when you're in a Traverse and the car is shaking and you're sitting there looking at your dog going, dude, I don't think we're going to make it through this.
I was in a Ford Ranger at work.
I was taking 100-mile-an-hour winds, sitting, thankfully nose into the wind as much as I could. But I had like huge power poles brand new in front of me, and I'm like, I'm glad those are new because it wasn't going to be pretty if they weren't.
Nope, I was sitting in a Ford Ranger at work, and that day turned into about a 16-hour work day.
Yeah. My 15-minute trip home turned into an hour and a half because I had to drive through some fields and some ditches. So I completely understand where you're coming from, and I don't know, how long did it take your area to clean up? Because I know Cedar Rapids, like 3 months after the fact, looked like they got hit by a tornado yet.
Just like the major storm damage we had, I think we were cleaning that up for a month easy. I mean, we were constantly, working for the municipality. That's what we were doing is, we were running around parks. We're out cleaning up all the parks. And then when they weren't doing that, they were out helping us in streets at the time to clean everything up off the streets. And it was a lot of 12-hour days to get everything cleaned up, and a lot of dealing with Mid-American and everybody trying to get power back on. And it was a reality check.
Oh, I completely get it. Now, I know DOT over here actually end up taking the snow plows out and plowing the streets open. Did you guys do anything like that?
I don't think we had it bad enough that we had to really plow anything out of the way. I know we had a couple of loaders out running around. So if there were trees in the way, they'd push them out, or there was usually priority, or we might have Mini X out there with the guys with a chainsaw, pick the tree up and just cut it where it needed to be cut so we could get it off the road.
Yeah. So did you do tech in general, like back to back, or did you do tech, play with tech a little bit, then go to general? How did you do about it with your studying?
I did tech. got my tech, had no radios, no equipment, no nothing. My brother and my dad sent me some stuff, and then I was off due to a back injury. So I was like, nothing better to do on light duty. So I started studying for my general, got my general, and then from there I got my 891 and whatnot, and got full blown into it.
891's a great rig.
I like it so far. I'd like to get a 705, but I don't have 705 money.
Hey, you know, the 991A is also a good radio. I mean, it's sitting right here. And then again, you can't, I get that. So we were talking before the stream about near vertical incident skywave, or NVIS. And you actually have a little tool that makes trying to figure out these NVIS and propagation things a little bit more interesting. Do we want to try to get that working and see the show off? And maybe you'll have to pull something up. I'll have to put stuff in or whatever. We'll figure out how we can show everyone everything.
Yeah, I mean, we can absolutely. The tool that Ben and I were looking at earlier, it's called VOACAP. It's an online propagation tool for HF. So give me a minute here, and I'll pull the basic screen up.
And I'm going to try to pull it up because with your example, we know we couldn't share both the screens at the same time. But if I set mine up exactly like you have your set up, then when we want to flip, I'll just share my screen or your screen. We can do it that way.
Fair enough. Mine's going to get ugly here for about 30 seconds.
It's all right. So while we're pulling this up, NVIS it's an awesome in-state or short distance communication. Actually, about an hour ago, the Iowa Traffic and Emergency Net happened on 80 meters, which is basically based off of NVIS propagation, and that's an in-state HF net. So we can use this in-state or in local area, or even further out, as Craig will show us how he uses it to get word out to loved ones, get supplies in. I know the crew in Cedar Rapids reached out to a guy in Minnesota, and they got generators coming down from Minnesota because they needed them that bad. So NVIS is fun to play with. I do have a couple videos with an NVIS antenna. I did take the NVIS antenna out today, but I didn't set it up. I forgot the stakes for it at home. So
well, this tool also works for, everyone will see as we start playing with it. I mean, it works for, dipoles, verticals. You've got your options.
Yeah. So I'm going to share Craig's screen here, and I'm going to get our ugly mugs out of the way so that way we can enjoy it. And I'm going to set up everything I can exactly how Craig is, so that way when we need to go to this other screen, I can flip it over. So what are we doing, Craig?
All right. So what you guys should be seeing currently on the screen is the VOACAP online for ham radio tool. And then what this allows you to do is it allows you to choose your transmit and your receive locations. And then over to the right, you can set up your rig and antenna information. And what this will do is it'll give you the ability to get percentages of the best time to make a contact. So I'll go ahead and generically set something up here.
And I'm going to try to mirror you. So what's our location going to be?
Oh, let's see if I can. How about we start in Des Moines, since you and I are both in Iowa.
So that's going to be W. Okay, hold on. Let me find Des Moines. All right.
And then then we'll just pick. Oh, let's see.
You want to do somewhat short distance? You want to say like Topeka?
We could do Topeka. That'll work.
That'll be a little shorter.
I just got to find it.
It's under Des Moines. It's the one right under Des Moines.
All right. There. Oh, won't let me click on it.
Well, if it won't let you click on it, we'll let you pick, and I'll go to you.
All right, we'll just pick something else. Let's go with something. Oh, right there, Topeka, Kansas.
There you are.
There we go. And then over here, we want to talk single sideband. And since we like playing with the 891s, we'll go with 100 watts.
Works for me.
And then under antennas, this is where you can go in, and this is where things get interesting and kind of need to be as close as you can get them. As you can see, for both transmit and receive sites, you have all the HF bands, 10 meters through 80. So you can set it up for however whatever you're running. So I have an in-fed half wave. They don't have in-feds in here. They've got verticals, isotropics, whips, Yagis, dipoles, and verticals. So I generally go with a dipole. And then I'll go all the way down the list because my in-fed's multi-band. 10 through 40. I'll just go ahead and select the dipole at 10 meters.
The dipole at 10 meters. For all of them?
All the way down to 40, 60, and 80. I could, if we wanted to go with, like, say what I got, I would do a quarter wave vertical, since that would be my Wolf River coil.
I'm just trying to match what you're doing, so that way when we got to get that other screen up, we can.
Yep, understood.
So
I just went dipole to 40, and then 60 and 80, I went quarter wavelength vertical.
All right, hold on. I had to see what that. Oh, it does have a 1/4 there. There we go.
And then for each sake, Ben, we can just go ahead and set up the receive antenna if you want. We can set that up the same way.
All right. Let's do it. I'm going to be playing with this a little bit more.
This is my brother and I, when we first started using this, I think we spent like an hour on the phone playing with this, trying to get it figured out. And once we got it figured out, it's a very useful tool once you get the basics down on it. And there's so much more that you can do.
Robert Greer, KB6JFL, is watching us and working 6 meters at the same time on FT8. Well, welcome, Robert, and I hope you're having fun on FT8.
Absolutely.
And I did see Roger there, so hello, Roger. All right, I am set up, Craig. All
right, so go ahead and click the antenna button again, and that'll get rid of that.
Okay.
And now we have everything set up, so this is where Ben and I have been running into some issues. Then now, since we have everything set up for our radio, wattage, antenna, and our 2 locations, we would come down here to where it says best frequency. And we'd click that button. But unfortunately, if I click that button, it won't show up.
And this is what he's trying to show you guys. So, right?
Yes.
All right, so explain this screen to us then, since I have it up.
So this screen on the far left, you see it's got your UTC 1 through 24.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you go over to where it says REL, past it.
REL, okay.
That is your likely percentage for making your connection.
So it looks like if we wanted to talk to Topeka, we want to come down to Probably 1600 UTC.
Right. I would probably try anywhere from 13 UTC to 2100, maybe even 2400 UTC.
All right.
I generally, anything over 90 is a pretty good option, is what I found. And then now if you go over to the right, you have frequency 1, frequency 2, and frequency 3 across the top. That's our 7.1, 5.4, and 3.6. So those are your frequencies to try. Now, obviously, if you're a general, 7.1 falls outside of your band restrictions or your frequency restrictions. So when we did this and I was a general, we would go within to whatever, because my dad's a general as well. So we went into our frequency range and just kind of played around. We took this more as a 40 meter recommendation.
Yeah, and that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's to me, I took it as just a general, okay, 40 meters. Mm-hmm. So we did try that, and that's what, it worked. My brother and I were able to talk from me here in Davenport, Iowa, to my brother out in Denver, Colorado. We figured it out, used the percentages. We're able to get on and talk. Then we got my dad, who's up in North Dakota, using the same tool. Times were about the same. He got on. And we were able to figure out that on HF with 100 watts, the three of us could almost literally set up a weekly net if we wanted to and get on and talk about whatever over ham radio without having to use cell phones or anything else.
Nice.
So it's a handy little tool to be able to choose your location, if you will. So again, like we were talking about earlier, Ben, if you had a cousin that lived in, anywhere in the world, really.
Well, it depends how far you want to go back in the bloodline. I got cousins all over the world if you go far enough back.
Yeah, me too. But it's one of those tools where when you're trying to make purposeful communications without guessing, this gives you more of a idea of, okay, this is going to work, this isn't going to work, instead of just going, hey, why don't you try to get on right now? I'm home, you're home, let's see if it works.
I see Justin Madman's down there in the chat. Justin, what's your grid square? Let's see what it would take to talk from me to you. Because I see Justin Madman's here, and I know he's probably got his grid square memorized and half the grid squares around him, because EmCom is kind of his thing. In fact, Justin, if you wanted to join the conversation, head over to IRO and head to my tab. You'll see the way to get in if you really want to join us on there. Because I'm sure you and Craig could probably just take the show away. I'll take a nap, and you guys wake me up in an hour.
Well, see, Justin, his EmCom and, Aries and whatnot is kind of different from mine. My purpose of EmCom is, I'm in an emergency. I need to talk to people. How am I doing it? How am I practicing? How am I making sure that I can get out if I need to get out, which I guess technically would transfer over to, like the Aries stuff, seeing as all.
Yeah. I clipped. So he is at what would John say? Easy to talk to a random person. Yeah. That's John just made a wonderful point. I don't know if you see his comment.
EN33JD.
Yeah, typing in this. Yeah, John, it's easy to talk to random people in all over the world, just going out there and calling CQ. But if I want to talk to you, Craig, this is where it gets difficult, because we have to find out what's going to work. at that moment.
Exactly. I mean, oh yeah, Ben's out. Like this morning, you were out running a POTA, but I couldn't hear you at all. I couldn't hear anything. But then at the same time, one of our IRO members, Paul, I've talked to him 3 or 4 times when he's been out activating, and that's just been sheer dumb luck.
Oh yeah. And that's just like whenever I see, especially our Iowa radio operators members doing parks on the air, or I see anyone like, go over to the clubhouse and they have a POTA chat where it just streams their members with the POTA. Even if they're a few miles down the road, try. If they're a few miles, you might get a ground wave. If they're 20 to 30 miles, you could get lucky.
The first time I went out and activated a park, I activated a park in Bettendorf, which is the city next door to me. And I got a guy in Bettendorf.
Hey.
Oddly enough.
So if I wanted to talk to Justin, it's looking like, with everything else, I didn't change any antennas. It looks extremely similar to if I wanted to talk to Topeka.
Pretty much, except you'll notice that later in the evening, like that, was it 18, 19, 20, your percentages start going down, so your window's actually smaller. You got, looks like 14 to 1700 UTC is your window, is your best window.
Yeah. That's interesting. Does anyone have any questions for Craig about vocap, or does anyone want to come on and say something? Because I don't know, Craig. Do you have more to share with us, Craig, or do you want to open this up for questions? I'll leave it up to you. You're the guest here.
Well, we could take some questions, obviously, as we go through, but, along with getting into emergency communications, I'm like trying to figure out how do you practice this? If I asked you, Ben, what's the best way to practice making, specific contacts, what would you say?
What's the best way?
Yep. If I wanted to talk to somebody in a specific state, what would you say would be the best way to talk to somebody?
Well, you could, or if you're doing a practice run, you could get on a Discord and say, hey, let's try to make a contact, get on this vocab, type in all your information and try it that way. If you're me before discovering vocab today, what I would do, it goes, well, this is short. This should be running short, relatively close. Let's give this a shot. And we just start flipping through frequencies until one worked or one didn't.
Now, what I'm going to tell you, you're not going to be surprised, but you're going to be surprised at the same time. Hunt POTA.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you go onto the POTA site, you can choose exactly which states. I have worked every state in the U.S., all 50, including D.C., on 100 watts, and 49 out of the 50 on 10 watts. So I know for a fact, if I needed to, I can reach anyone in any of the 50 states on 100 watts.
Oh yeah, I would have said just to practice EmCom in general. I would have said POTA, but yeah, I see how you could just start pinpointing different locations.
And you can do it. I mean, and you can use it and get down even further because you can look up the parks people are at and see where the parks are at. So you can go, okay, well, I managed to get Oregon. Okay, well, where at in Oregon? I want to get as far west as I can onto the coast, or, like Hawaii, it's about as far south as you can get in the U.S. Okay, well, getting a hold of, Eric in Hawaii is quite the achievement. So
yeah,
and chase parks and be like, okay, well, now you can direct what part of the states you're talking to.
Here to Spokane on, I think it was 10 meters today. That was something.
Exactly. And it's, it's a small thing, but when people get into it, get into ham radio and, they're doing it for, I want to do, like me, I got into it for emergency purposes, for having communications. Being able to know where I can talk to, and what my radio will do, what my antenna will do, where will my Wolf River coil stop, where say my in-fed half wave won't. I've talked to probably 30 states, or not 30, yeah, probably about 30 states with my Wolf River coil, but I've hit all 50 with my in-fed.
Shooter's got a question for us real quick. So this is all based on having functional internet.
I think with VoaCap, I think you can download it. I could have sworn I saw something when I looked it up about using it on like Windows. But yeah, with VoaCap, to try to use it as a tool to search out and make those contacts. I mean, if you've got internet, you can use the internet.
I was going to say another thing this could do. I'm guessing, obviously propagation and stuff's going to be different, but do you and your brother and your dad, when you guys go to chat, even look up the vocab stuff anymore? Or since you have talked so much and you talk relatively the same time of day, you kind of know where to find each other at?
Yeah, that's pretty much, we know time wise. Okay, we get on about 8, 9 o'clock at night, and we're pretty much going to be able to find each other on a frequency. It's, with those 3 different frequencies, we'll start at 40. Then, if we struggle on 40, we'll go to 20. And eventually we manage to get on there.
So you're going to be using vocab basically as a learning tool. I mean, because if you're sitting there like, I want to talk to this area of the country, you're using that vocab, you could be taking notes. So that way, when you get in that situation, you can just pull out your notebook and be like, all right, I need to talk to Roger out in Washington. I need to talk to Craig over here along the river. I'm going to go to my notes. Okay, this is where it should be able to reach at approximately. It's a good starting point.
And once you get, if okay, say I'm trying to reach my brother in Denver, for example, I can pull up that best frequency screen and you can print that out or copy it and paste it. And, if you have like a communications book, like I've got it's a half sheet binder. So is it 5.5 by 8.5? I could cut that down, paste that to size, print that out on some Write in the Rain paper. Now it's added, so I know, okay, if I need to get a hold of my brother and it's not within the time window that we normally use, I have, what are my propagation, what are my chances of making that connection, and what frequencies do I need to use? So if you've got 6, 7 people that you want to be able to get a hold of, you have that ability to go through and use VoaCap while you have internet, while things are good. And like you said, you can take notes, you can print that screen out and have it ready if you need it.
Okay, and Shooter's on a roll here. He's got another question. He goes, "So is that a static chart? He thinks it would move. It would move with the time of year and muff. I'm pretty sure that if you have functional internet, it's going to change based on the time of the year and everything else. I mean, am I right?"
Yes, it should. I mean, because it's taking all of that into effect. So when you go in and you're looking at it, it's going to take in, what everything's doing for propagation. I mean, like it has settings for takeoff angle analysis for, you can select the year or month. I mean, it's.
And what I was saying by, like take notes is, I'm not saying it's a static chart, but if you take the notes, if you print these screens out, when you get in that, oh crap, hit the fan situation and you don't have internet, at least you would have a starting point with the information you do have. It's probably not going to be perfect, more than likely not going to be perfect. But if hey, 40 meters 2 months ago got me to where I need to go. This might be a good starting point to at least start looking and seeing if I can work something there. And that's
And
what I was saying.
It's also something that you could easily go through, and if you're worried about different times of the year, you can go through at those times of the year and you could try it out and see, okay, what's the chart look like now?
And then you could get I'm not going to pull the binder. I got it buried. You could pull out a binder and you could just have it, hey, spring, here's my charts. Or here, even by month, in January, here it is. And then you could have a whole binder full of those charts where you want to reach out to and see how it varies. And then you always have a hard copy to get you in the ballpark. Get you in the ballpark. Instead of throwing antenna or throwing wires in the air and praying like I've been doing.
Yeah. And, along with that, I mean, another tool that I use WinLink. I got into WinLink because it's like, okay, I can send emails offline just using the radio. And I've done that before where I've sent emails to my dad and my brother using nothing but, the radio and a battery and my antenna. I completely disconnect. Like I will unplug my router to make sure that there's absolutely no internet being used. Send it all out. Get it all back and get it back in, pull the emails down. And now I even have email if I need to send email.
I just heard Ariel just go get really happy. I swear I hear clapping from Fort Dodge right now.
I have a small voice in the back of my head saying, mention WinLink Mondays.
Hey, WinLink Mondays, guys. I watch Ariel's going to jump in the chat and be like, yes. If you guys missed that, Ariel talked about WinLink last Sunday or 2 Sundays ago.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. It's not on the calendar. It got erased off the calendar. So it wasn't that long ago. We had Ariel on here talking about WinLink and his WinLink Mondays.
Well, I got into WinLink and started playing with it, and I got it, understood it enough from YouTube videos and whatnot to send emails to my dad and my brother. And, I'd talk to Ariel about it, and actually I started getting into, and the way my schedule was working, I was never actually sending him emails on Monday. It was more like Saturday or Sunday night. But, the practice to be able to just, have, okay, well, I got to send this form or I got to do that, and actually functionally connecting, using and sending emails with WinLink was great practice.
And I'm going to not lie to you guys. I'll be completely and utterly honest to you. I said I was going to play with it more. I haven't. It's on the list. I was happy to get out to a park this morning. I used to go... I think my son's knocking on my door. I used to go and do a park a week, and I just did my first activation of the year today. Craig, if you want to talk about something else, there is someone knocking on my door. I'm going to mute up real quick and go see what he needs.
Sounds good. But with the abilities of all the digital modes that are out there, getting into playing a little bit more with JS8 Call. For those of you that are familiar with Vera AC, Vera AC is a very, very versatile tool for communications. They've got a chat to where you can do essentially point-to-point chat rooms. So Vera AC is definitely another option that I want to get in and play with. There's a couple of guys on IRO that play with Vera AC. Ariel plays with JS8 Call. And those other digital modes are another tool to absolutely have on hand and understand for emergencies. My wife asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I told her I'd been, some other stuff. And then she'd heard me talk about how I wanted to get a Microsoft Surface specifically for ham radio to be able to do digital modes. And she went out and bought me a Surface Pro 9 so that I could do it. So now I have my Surface Pro 9 that is capable of being charged off of 12 volts So I can charge it up off my my lithium iron phosphate battery. I can charge it off my car, whatever I need to make sure that it's charged. And I have access to digital modes. I have access to, like, I have all my radio manuals, pretty much anything for my communications information. So like Ben was saying, copies of different charts and whatnot for connecting with people. I have all that stuff saved on my Microsoft Surface. So if I'm out doing something and I get caught in a storm, there's no power, I'm trapped, but I happen to have my ham radio because I was going to do a POTA activation, I have everything I need to reach out and let people know what's going on. I can connect with WinLink, send my wife an email and let her know, hey, I'm okay, I'm stuck here, send help, my cell phone's dead. And she's able to do that. So to me, that is one of those tools that makes ham radio that much more valuable to me. And absolutely, Julian has become one of my biggest online I can't even remember the word I'm thinking of, but one of my online mentors. He's the reason, like, I dove into his channel, watching him build batteries and build everything, because that's everything that he does, and how he runs everything is specifically for emergency communications. His home station runs off of a home built solar generator. So he doesn't use AC power unless he absolutely has to.
That would be nice. I mean, I could do that too. I just have to run a wire from in here to outside, then put a solar panel, which I do have. I have an extra solar panel I could put up on the tower, and then I could run solar. But seems more of a hassle than just to flip on the power supply. But and Chris says this is the reason why he's getting his license and everything. So I mean, communications, when it comes down to it, is, I don't want to say everyone, we got a little bit of a prepper side, but we don't. When we get our licenses and we get set up to where we can run remote, the prepper kind of comes out in us. We're like, well, we lost the power. I'll fire up the radio. I can still talk. I mean, we always have comms.
Absolutely. And All Things Radio makes a point about APRS being important. And, like, if you're going out camping, hiking, like my brother lives in Denver, going up into the mountains, APRS is something I've told him he's needed to look into. Absolutely. Being able to send out, I think it's the Tech Prepper uses APRS all the time to send, like, who goes hiking and back into, I think it's the Tonto National Forest, and sends out text messages to his wife letting him know, hey, I made it to where I was going and whatnot. And you can also send out basically a little GPS pin. So if something happens, you can drop a GPS pin and call for help.
This was Sunday night or Friday night, chasing severe storms. This was what we did. And I'm not going to point out, but I did stop at the other Andy's house up here. I'm not going to point out which pin it was, but yeah, I always run APRS when I'm storm chasing, just for the fact that if something happens, you know where to start looking.
That's another conversation you and I'll have to have, because that's something I want to start playing with.
Well, I'm bad with it because all my APRS runs off this. I do have analog APRS in my truck, but with the lack of analog APRS receivers in this area, it doesn't get out online, and that's how my family tracks me, is through the online interface. So, what did John just say? Yeah, John makes wonderful point there. We have natural disasters, derechos, tornadoes, floods. And Craig has seen all of those just this year. Building
Right.
collapses.
Yeah,
And we are,
absolutely.
and we are right next to the new. We're not that far from the New Madrid fault line. I mean, Iowa. No, who would want to live here? We're crazy. Yeah, we are.
What was it last week? I think Thursday or Friday. It was with a heat index. It was only 115 degrees.
Yeah, and 115 degrees, but that because that's because we had the 90% humidity.
Absolutely. I mean, you gotta love Iowa, where we go 150 degree temperature swing a year.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with Shooter. We need more eye gates around here. I was running. No, I didn't run analog APRS today. There's an eye gate down in Pella, and usually when I get about 10 miles out of Pella, I hit it. But a lack of eye gates, and that's why I go. And sadly, I'm dependent on cell phone networks because of this, because I'm using hotspot tethered to my phone Wi-Fi. But it's one of those things where, with the lack of eye gates, I mean, I'm depending on weather, the internet, and either every way you look at it, for my family to track at me. So
Yeah, and see, that's where, for me, I'm trying to figure out ways to do everything literally as if I have nothing. Great, I got a cell phone, but I have no cell service. I have my computer, but again, I can't get on the internet. But however, if I have a radio, I can send an email. There's ways. I'm not 100% certain with WinLink, but I know there's like APRS. With the APRS software, you can send text messages and whatnot. So that ability to be able to do all of that, email, text, whatever, over radio.
WinLink, you could go peer to peer and go radio to radio. I know that.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and my question for Robert down there: what was your humidity? Because I can tell you with a certainty, it's not the heat, it's the humidity. Because a year ago, and just over a year ago, I was in Las Vegas, Nevada. It was 110 degrees, and it felt like 85 in Iowa.
When my oldest daughter started college, she did her first semester in Honolulu, and I was like looking at the weather. I'm like, oh, it's going to be in the 80s while we're out there.
You took a swim when you got off that plane, didn't you?
Oh Lord, was it a whole different kind of hot? It was
Like
88 degrees, but it was also like 98% humidity.
that, and that was my reaction to Florida when I was in Florida. It's like I got out of the car and it's like I stepped into the shower and I'm like, wow. I thought Iowa was bad. These people are nuts. I'm like,
Yeah,
wait,
we have
this makes sense. This is why everyone from Iowa moves to Florida when they retire, because it's just like Iowa.
yeah, we have that lovely heat now and again to where you walk out the front door and you like basically get slapped in the face by the humidity. It's like you're
Yeah.
walking through, a wall and it's like, oh, yep, there it is.
Man, I
But
just got out of
Hawaii
the
was
shower.
just, it was ridiculous. It's like 88 degrees, 98% humidity. You wouldn't think it's that hot, but you're 15 minutes after being out there walking around, you're like, okay, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. So, Craig, I'm just noticing something. We got 14 people watching and we got 7 likes. Do you think we can get 100% like to watch ratio right now? Do you think we can get those 7 other likes?
I
I
would
think
hope
they can
so.
do
I
it.
mean,
I think they can do it.
I think they can.
And I don't know if anyone else has noticed, we're like on just over 25 subscribers away from giving away a ham radio care package that Andy AA0AM made huge last week. I'm just throwing that out there. Let's see. Most days it's 22. Today was set. See that humidity makes a huge distance. It makes a huge distance too. Uh, oh, yeah, I've got a friend in the Keys right now. I hate bridges with a passion. I don't know if anyone knows this, but
Hey, look who just popped up in chat.
Did you gotta shame us?
Where was he at when we started talking about WinLink?
I threw that link in IRO chat for anyone that wanted to join us on stream. I was waiting when we started talking WinLink. I figured he'd jump right on in, but no
I think
one's
he
been.
joined late.
The only person that's been knocking at the door, because it's a knock that comes through my headset when someone joins. It's actually been my physical door knocking. It hasn't been online. So I figure when we started talking about WinLink, he would have been like, "I'm there."
Or JS8 call, because I know he plays with JS8 call too.
He got on right when you were talking about the website, so he's been here the whole time. Hey, there's Jason over there in Des Moines. Welcome, Jason. Jason is very active on Twitter. And he's one of the reasons why I'm trying to do my goal right now is a tweet a day just to get more online presence out there. But he's posting sunsets and sunrises. It's just I can't even keep up. Nice. Oh, Ariel said something else. He's fighting with JS8 call now.
Perfect. Now he's going to learn the troubleshooting skills. So when the rest of us need to learn, we get him to teach us.
And you can also find Ariel guys now on Ham Radio Clubhouse. I saw he joined the other day. So if you are in our awesome Iowa Discord, because you're not from Iowa, you can find Ariel, the Iowa WinLink Master. Just dubbed that, by the way. Just dubbed him that. Over on Ham Radio Clubhouse, you can shoot him some messages over there and harass him and say, "Hey, Ben told me to come ask you a bunch of stuff." And then he can come at me for sending everyone and their mother over there to ask him about WinLink.
Is he doing WinLink Mondays over there?
I don't know. I haven't noticed if he's brought that up. I haven't seen how active he is, though. It's kind of hard for me to keep an eye on Discord at times.
Because that was playing with his WinLink Mondays definitely helped me understand WinLink a little bit better. So
have a good one, UTV and Ham.
Have a good night.
And yes, he is the WinLink GOAT.
The Iowa WinLink
GOAT. The Iowa WinLink GOAT. Because we know, Josh out in California there is probably the actual GOAT, or dang near the actual GOAT. Trying to do a park tomorrow if people are available. I did a park today.
Nah, he's talking about peer-to-peer.
Oh, peer-to-peer. I was thinking park to park. I was doing parks today.
Well, Ariel, I'll be tomorrow's my day off, so I'll be just kind of hanging out with the dogs. So I'll pay attention to Discord when you start playing around. I'll be willing to get in. You and I have done it before where we've gotten in and you've tried to walk me through stuff. So I still got to get it figured out.
We now have more likes than views, Josh says, and he's actually, as he says that, we went even, 12 and 12. So I want to thank everyone for liking the stream. And guys,
I just got to ask if everybody's subscribed.
I'm just going to bring that up. If they haven't subscribed, let's see what our subscriber count is right now. I'll check. So, as of this exact moment, we have 476 subscribers. We are 24 subscribers away from mailing this box. This box right here. And if you look at the channel, I did a video this week about what's in this box. You should go check it out.
There's a lot of goodies in that box.
There is. And I'm still trying to convince Andy to put it in a 10, but I mean, a 4-to-1 kit. I'm not going to.
I've contemplated sending you my extra book. It's brand new. It's the Gordon West book, but it's kind of one of those. I'm not sure if the extra book is something that.
Hey, we got a general good. We got a general book in there. I mean,
that's true.
Encourage them. Whoever gets this box, if they're not an extra or a general, here you go.
So I can definitely throw in the extra book, since I threw it out there on IRO and nobody was didn't seem like anybody was interested in it. So I mean, I could absolutely, Ben, send it your way.
If you want, we'll throw it in the box.
Absolutely, I'll get with you after the show and get some information. I'll get it sent out to you.
I'm glad I got a flat rate box because this thing's getting heavy.
Hey, who knows? Maybe if I get this infed built, which I did get the video on winding the transformer done today, and it looks like it's going to fit in the boxes that I have. So I'm going to try to finish the video out by building the actual box, the whole transformer out for the infed. If it works and it's small enough, maybe I'll donate one of those too.
Ooh, darn. Well, we only got 24 more subs to go. I mean,
I'll send you the book for sure.
We've gone up 50, I think 50 subs in the last 2 weeks. So studying's not. Yeah, I'm waiting on the extra too.
So studying is not my thing in any way, shape, or form. When I got my tech and my general, I did it by listening to one of the various YouTube channels that puts on their classes online. And then I did it with ham studies so that I could take practice tests. That seemed to be the easiest way for me to get the at least tech and general out of the way.
For general, I was listening to Whiskey 4 Echo Yankee, I think it is, has online classes.
Yep, I'm pretty sure that's the same person I listened to for tech and general. And then I listened for extra too, but there's so much information in extra, it just that way wasn't working for me. So I reverted back to when I was in college, the best way I found to study there, which was I read the entire book into a digital recorder and then would just sit and I'm out mowing the lawn. So, okay, I know I got 2.5 hours of lawn mowing. So I would listen to it and then listen to it and listen to it over and over. And I think I got 2 wrong on my extra.
Nice.
So that's kind of another study method that's out there. If because I don't mind reading stuff, but when I start reading the same thing over and over and over again, it gets really hard for me, which is why I started reading into a digital recorder. It's easier to listen to the material over and over again than it is to read it for me.
Yeah, for me, it's when it came to those tests, what it came down to is I watched those classes, and then I just, was ground and pound with ham study.
Yeah, ham study is a definite tool to use if you're studying for any of your tests.
So Robert can do 25 words per minute CW in my head. I can identify CW at 25 words a minute. I can't tell you what they're saying. I can say, hey, that's CW.
I hear CW everywhere. Every time I hear random, beeps, it's like, oh, wait, is that CW? I don't know what it says or, anything like that yet. I'm working on it.
Have a good one, Chris. Thanks for being here.
That CW is going to be I think it's going to be when I get a little bit more familiar with a couple more digital programs. I think that's going to be the next thing I dig into.
I would love to learn the code. It's just not right now. I've got so many things going different ways, learning the new job. And that's going to be, from talking to some of the corporate trainers that I've had and stuff, they said, yeah, in a year you might be comfortable. I'm like, oh, great. So this is going to be, okay. Got to gut it out for a year. Got it. but learning different things, and then trying to grow the channel, try to get out, do stuff, just trying to balance everything. It's CW. I just can't take on CW or studying forestry right now. I got so many things going.
And honestly, that's why, like, there's so many gaps, like so long of gaps between videos on my channel is, about 3 months ago, I started a new job and changed my hours, and it changed everything for me.
Yeah.
So it's, oh yeah, let me try to do this, try to do that. And it's like, well, that kind of fell flat. And then I have Sunday and Monday off. So Sunday it's try to do everything I can with my family. And then Monday it's try to get everything else that needs to be done. And if I can make a video, try. And it just hasn't worked. Like today, everyone's out of town but me. So it's like, all right, well, I've got perfect time to be able to make a video.
Yeah. See, and the wife and I changed jobs at the same time. So I went to day shift, yay, and she went to second shift. So we got to get our schedules. The only time I really have out to go do parks now is weekends, because she's at work Monday through Friday on second shift. So unless I go to a park with a playground, little guy who knocked on the door earlier, probably not going to be the best.
Right. Is he like fishing?
He's not that patient.
I was gonna say that's what I did. Of course, my kids are older, but we went out and activated, and my daughter was sitting there fishing the whole time. I had a rod in the water and was making contacts, watching my bobber.
Yep, no, he is not that patient. I would love to do that, but I'd have to go over to Big Creek where they have the huge playground and set up next to that, and which I could do, but it's just easier. Like this morning, I left here at 6 a.m. I was back by 10. Next week, I'm going to be in Cedar Rapids on Saturday, and I'm going to be in Ames on Sunday, so it's going to be real fun.
Sounds like a good reason to activate a park in Cedar Rapids and Ames.
It sounds like a very good reason. I'm going by a few, and I'm probably going to stop. I'm not sure if I'm going to do an actual radar run on Saturday, but if I'm going to be gone all day, I'm going to make sure I have this. This is my recording phone, everyone. Every video you see is on this taped up piece of crap right now. So this is going to be going because I'm going to do a video from the Hamfest. I'm going to be doing at least one park. I'm going to take advantage of basically being on my own for a day. Unless I can convince John to come with me, and then I'm going to take advantage of having me and John there. Norwalk is checking in right at the tail end here.
I had to double check that call sign when I saw it.
You thought it was Mike? He's gotten me a couple times on that. That's K0, not K8. It's not K-murder. But we are at the tail end, guys. We actually did surpass active viewers per likes. We're at 13 likes and 12 viewers. I thank you. For those of you who have subscribed during the stream, because I know there's been a few of you, again, thank you very much. I want to get this giveaway going. And if you don't know, I actually do have a giveaway schedule for every 500 subs until we hit 1,500 subs. So we're giving something away every 500 subscribers until I hit 1,500, and then it changes up a little bit. So I want to keep everyone here, and that can happen more with the people that you've seen our supporter list, the people that come over to buy me a coffee and make a monetary donation. If I'm able to purchase more, or we're able to get people to donate more, I'm willing to do more giveaways. So, but right now my plan is every 500 unless something comes up, unless Plasma Storm jumps in the chat and says, "Hey, I'm going to give this away." Okay, let's do a giveaway then. It's happened. But I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank Craig for being here with us and teaching us about vocab.
Very useful tool.
How to use that. And I want to thank everyone who's still with us, all 12 of our 12 viewers here. We're growing every week, guys. Just keep, invite your friends. We sit here and hang out. I don't know what our topic is next week. I don't even know if I'm going to be next week. I might be sleeping at the wheel, but we might have open mic night. It's going to be a long weekend. I'm probably going to have stories. We might have open mic night, and just bring everyone in who wants to come in and chat. That's the plan right now. So thank you again, Craig, Wildland Outdoors, for joining us. I dropped his link in chat, I'm pretty sure, earlier. If not, look up Wildland Outdoors. He's sitting in there in chat. So, I mean, there's his YouTube handle. Go give him a sub. I know he'll appreciate it. And we will see everyone next week.
73.